You can listen to The Professional Left wherever you get your podcasts, on Netroots Radio, or at our website, proleftpod.com, where you can also contribute to this podcast. There's a PayPal button at our website, or you can mail us a letter and or contribution at P.O. Box 9133, Springfield, Illinois, 62791.
This is the podcast for the week of October 10th, 2025. It's not safe for work.
Recorded live from the Cornfield Resistance, where we are wishing my brother Larry the happiest of birthdays.
Happy birthday, Larry.
Happy birthday, Larry. It's The Professional Left with Driftglass and Blue Gal.
The word of the day is nihilist. Say it with me now. Nihilist.
Nihilist.
Over to you, Walter Sobchak.
Nothing changes. Fucking Nazis.
They were Nazis, dude?
Oh, come on, Donnie. They were threatening castration.
Uh-huh.
Are we going to split hairs here?
No.
Am I wrong?
Well, he
Man, they were nihilists, man.
Huh?
They kept saying they believe in nothing.
Nihilists. Fuck me. I mean, say what you want about the tenets of National Socialism, dude. At least it's an ethos.
In our last episode, we broke down the American classic Huckleberry Finn to explain how Huck's conscience, which the evils of slavery had deformed because that evil came wrapped in scripture and traditional social approval, overcame all of that even though he believed it meant eternal damnation. Because, in the character of Jim, he had a direct, personal, real-world proof that the system was wrong, just plain wrong. And podcast listener Mary was touched and wrote us this in response to that episode. So we do read your emails, folks.
And we got a lot of emails on this episode, I gotta say. Yeah.
Quote, that was a masterful analysis of Huck Finn. This is how Huck Finn should be taught in schools and why Huck Finn was a great novel. Back in the dark ages, when I was in high school, Huck Finn was taught, but not this well. Aw, Mary, you flatter me. My takeaway from it then was that Jim was the only decent person in the whole novel and taught Huck how to be a decent person. All that racist language simply showed how evil the whole slavery system was. Well done, you two. I had a great-great-grandfather in northern Indiana who spent some 20 years hiding and transporting escaped slaves so they could make it to Canada in freedom, breaking the law but being a really good person. Nobody knew he was doing that until 10 years after the Civil War, not even his children. He even helped, quote-unquote, the slave catchers look for them while hiding the slaves in his basement that he dug out to have a hiding place to feed them and let them have a warm night, unquote. Well, first of all, Mary, thank you again very much for the email. Secondly, your great-great-grandfather is a true American hero.
Absolutely. In Indiana, good Lord.
In Indiana, the home of the Klan.
Yeah, birthplace of the Klan. Absolutely. Yep. So, getting back to Walter Sobchak and the subject of ethos, which we are told by Merriam-Webster means the distinguishing character, sentiment, moral nature, or guiding beliefs of a person, group, or institution. And the reason the despicable institution of slavery lasted as long as it did in the United States is that the ethos of slavery was passed down generation after generation among white people as a righteous thing, a God-ordained Christian thing. If you doubt it, check out the infamous Cornerstone Speech, which Confederate Vice President Alexander Stephens delivered on March 21st, 1861. It was about the Confederate Constitution, which was modeled on the United States Constitution, but with some notable revisions.
Yep.
And after going over a few of the more tedious changes like taxes and presidential term limits, Stephens gets down to brass tacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to read this. You know, this is going to be hard for some people to listen to.
Yep.
It's hard for me to read it.
It's American history, though.
But it's American history.
Yep.
And it's history that is being erased.
Yeah. And
It's
in a
being
lot of ways,
erased by our government.
In a lot of ways, revived.
Yeah. So this is just a small excerpt of the speech, and really the core of it. The new Constitution has put at rest forever all the agitating questions relating to our peculiar institution, African slavery, as it exists among us, the proper status of the Negro in our form of civilization. This was the immediate cause of the late rupture and present revolution. Jefferson, in his forecast, had anticipated this as the rock upon which the old Union would split. He was right. What was conjecture with him is now a realized fact. But whether he fully comprehended the great truth upon which that rock stood and stands may be doubted. The prevailing ideas entertained by him and most of the leading statesmen at the time of the formation of the old Constitution were that the enslavement of the African was in violation of the laws of nature, that it was wrong in principle, socially, morally, and politically. It was an evil they knew not well how to deal with, but the general opinion of the men of that day was that somehow or other, in the order of providence, the institution would be evanescent and pass away. This idea, though not incorporated in the Constitution, was the prevailing idea at the time. Our new government is founded upon exactly the opposite idea, that its foundations are laid, its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery's subordination to the superior race is his natural and normal condition. This, our new government, is the first in the history of the world based upon this great physical, philosophical, and moral truth.
Yep. Right there in
I
print.
would disagree with that last sentence. It's not the first government in the history of the world
No.
founded on the fact that slavery is just great.
Well, I think there are a lot of forms of slavery in history. This kind of generational chattel slavery.
Oh, yeah.
Where you could never, ever get out of it because of what you are. I don't think I'm sure the Romans didn't practice that because they had slaves who bought their way to freedom.
Who bought their way to freedom and so forth. Yeah. But this idea of your children are going to be slaves. Forever. Everything's going to be slavery forever. Yes. Is unique to the American South. Yeah.
And I used to keep this, and still in some sense, keep this in my back pocket for all of my libertarian friends, former friends, who would say, but it wasn't about slavery. The Civil War wasn't about slavery.
Yeah, about states' rights.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
And here's the proof. And slap, slap, slap. And at least I lost at least one high school friend who just got really angry that I got angry at him because he thought I was stupid and would believe his bullshit. And he got angry with me because I pulled facts out of my ass and said, hey, here's some stuff that you goddamn well know is true.
Yeah.
And he didn't speak to me after that. And that was probably for the best.
Well, that's just too bad.
Just too bad. Anyway, Stevenson went on to say that abolitionists are insane. They're fanatics and they're crazy. That's why you can ignore them, because they're crazy. Quote, they were attempting to make things equal which the Creator made unequal or had made unequal. It is the first government.
He's really depending on that religion thing.
Oh, no, it's clearly that is the pillar on which the whole thing stands. This is God's will.
Yeah.
It is the first government ever instituted upon the principle in strict conformity to nature and the ordination of providence in furnishing the materials of human society. With us, all of the white race, however high or low, rich or poor, are equal in the eye of the law. Not so with the Negro. Subordination is his place. He, by nature or by the curse of Canaan, is fitted for that condition which he occupies in our system, unquote. Absolutely, right there. American white supremacy summed up in a sentence, right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it lives on to this day.
It sure does. Except, well, as we'll get to, stripped of any of that God's plan stuff. The only thing that's left is the racism.
Yeah, but this White House, but not in other corners of American society. In other corners of American society, religion is still at the core of it.
Yeah, no, there's still religion, and we can get into that in a little bit. Yeah. But the idea that there's a direct causal relationship between your white superiority over all other creatures on earth and God is never, ever made this explicit, out in public ever again.
Yeah. It's like the N-word. You don't say it. You don't say it, you think it. Yeah.
But there it is.
Yeah. It took the deaths of nearly 750,000 Americans to finally destroy the institutions of slavery. But even after the South was reduced to smoking rubble, as you all know, the ethos of white supremacy lived on. The minute the Union Army's boot was removed from the neck of the racist South, that ethos came roaring back in the form of Jim Crow laws. And this is when I would say the Yankees had some responsibility for this.
Oh, huge. Absolutely. The deal they did to win the White House, but remove the troops.
Yep.
And end Reconstruction. That 12 years, they had 12 years of relative liberty. You had black people being elected to office, voting,
being educated, having
all
property.
taken away from them, all snatched away from them.
Yep. And the Union let it happen.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want to fight another war, I think.
Absolutely not. And they didn't really give a shit about what happened to black people in the South either.
And you know what happens when you fight that first war and feelings are really raw and you don't actually solve the problem?
Yeah.
Hitler comes along and says, hey, here's an open wound and I'm an infection and I can take advantage of it.
Yep. The idea that white supremacy was ordained by God was further embellished with the romantic myth of the lost cause. And it was passed along to the next generation and the next, again, of white people believing they were ordained in some way.
Mm-hmm.
A century after the Civil War, in the 1965 court opinion, refusing to overturn the conviction of Mildred and Richard Loving under Virginia's anti-miscegenation laws, when Judge Leon M. Bazile of the Caroline County Circuit Court wrote this in his decision, he might as well have been quoting the Cornerstone Speech of 1861. Quote, Almighty God created the races white, black, yellow, Malay, and red, and he placed them on separate continents. And but for the interference with his arrangement, there would be no cause for such marriages. The fact that he separated the races shows that he did not intend for the races to mix, unquote. And that is when Mr. and Mrs. Loving's lawyers went, yay!
Yay, thank you for saying it out loud. We really appreciate
thank you
that.
for writing it down in your decision. They made it easy to glide right over to the Supreme Court and say that the reason they're doing this is, there is a separation of church and state. All right. So this explicitly framed racial segregation as a matter of divine will and that God is the justification for the state's Racial Integrity Act of 1924.
Yep.
Made it a loser.
Yep. And let me just say, I was born before 1965.
Yeah. So
this happened in my lifetime, and my ex is an African-American woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in my lifetime, my first marriage would have been illegal.
Yep.
This is not fucking ancient history.
No.
But this is
not even history. It's
no, it isn't.
Current.
It's right here.
People who are alive today know about this.
However, this is not the History of America's Original Sin podcast.
Oh.
much as we'd like it to be. There are hundreds and hundreds of people out there who are much better qualified to speak on the subject all day long. If you want to ring up Ta-Nehisi Coates, he can give you chapter and verse on this in a depth that I can only admire from a distance. The point here today is that a war over the institution of slavery could be fought because the parties to that war, that would be the Union and the Confederacy, each had an ethos which was clear and understandable. The South believed slavery was ordained by God, and therefore they were willing to fight a holy war to protect it, to the bitter end, to the destruction of their cities, the destruction of their country. It was a holy war. The post-Civil War South believed segregation was ordained by God and was willing to use state terrorism in the form of lynching and the Ku Klux Klan to defend it. In 1968, we did a podcast on this, on third-party candidates that leaned heavily on this guy. George Wallace ran an insurgent and explicitly segregationist third-party campaign for president, and he won nearly 10 million popular votes, which just blows my mind, out of a total of around 73 million votes cast. That was 13.5% of votes cast nationally. He carried 5 southern states.
I want you to think about that for a minute because the map, the electoral map of 1968 had to put yellow states.
Right. Suddenly.
They had red and blue, and then they had to put yellow because Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, and Mississippi were won by George Wallace.
Yeah. And you might remember during the Bush administration, we noticed that the slave states all lined up with the Bush states, the states that Bush won.
Yep.
You know, there's and it was like, well, how dare you suggest there's racism in the Republican Party? That's crazy talk. He won 45 electoral votes plus one from a faithless elector.
This is Wallace.
This is George Wallace.
Yeah.
And came pretty damn close to receiving enough votes to throw the election into the House of Representatives. And then he could have been a kingmaker.
Yeah.
Then he could have brokered all kinds of horrible deals with whoever would give him what he wanted, and he'll give them his votes, and then that person gets to be president. Once again, the ethos behind the lynching and the Klan and George Wallace was very, very clear.
Today, I have stood where once Jefferson Davis stood and took an oath to my people. It is very appropriate that from this cradle of the Confederacy, this very heart of the great Anglo-Saxon Southland, that today we sound the drum for freedom, as have our generation of forebears before us done time and again down through history. Let us rise to the call of freedom-loving blood that is in us, and send our answer to the tyranny that clanks its chains upon the South, in the name of the greatest people that have ever trod this earth. I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny, and I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
The ethos driving the Wallace campaign wasn't a mystery. It was right there in the open. If you want to understand the ethos that drove the South to treason and war, all you have to do is read the individual states' declarations of secession. South Carolina, for example, was the first state to leave, and in its declaration, it said very plainly that the primary reasoning behind South Carolina's decision to secede from the U.S. was, quote, increasing hostility on the part of the non-slaveholding states to the institution of slavery, unquote. The declaration states in part, quote, a geographical line has been drawn across the Union, and all states north of that line have united in the election of a man. Who would that be, Driftglass?
Some local guy from Springfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Election of a man to the high office of President of the United States whose opinions and purposes are hostile to slavery, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was a Republican, Driftglass.
He was a Republican. I don't know if you know that, Blue Gal, but Democrats were the party of the Klan.
A pre-1964 Republican.
Yeah. Very, very much pre-1964.
Yeah.
But now consider today's Republican Party. That would be the MAGA Party, the Tea Party, the Trump Party, the party of Reagan, if you will. They throw around the same language as scum like Stevens and Wallace, rhetoric about providence and the creator and greatness and the clanking chains of tyranny. But beyond, I want to make liberals cry. Can anyone explain exactly what the fuck they stand for? What is the comprehensible justification for them electing and remaining rabidly loyal to a corrupt, degenerate, fraud, liar, and convicted felon? What is the ethos that's driving their berserk rage and their suicidal choices? And the truth is, there isn't one. Other than, being dumb and racist, there is no ethos behind any of it. Which is why most politicians and pundits are completely flummoxed when they toss around ideas about how to, get us out of the fascist abyss the Republicans have dragged us into. You all will have noticed by now that all of their ideas come down to this. What must Democrats give up to appease Republicans enough to get them to stop burning the country to the ground? Because most professional opinion writers have written off Republican intransigence and their vandalism and their cruelty and their stupidity as something akin to like a flood or a hurricane. A long time ago they did this. That this is just a force of nature that you can't reason with, which is why pundits came to believe that having Democrats give stuff up to placate Republicans is somehow how democracy works.
Yep.
That's how our system works. But you can't placate crazy and stupid, and you can't appease a bottomless pit of rage, which is all the GOP is now. That's it. They're nothing more than that. And there are all sorts of people who now make TikTok videos and YouTubes, which consist of just asking MAGA basic, stupid questions. And there are loads of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy named Parker, for example, and he has dozens and hundreds of those, but there's lots and lots more.
Do you not agree that America is the greatest country to ever be?
No, I do not agree. I don't know why you're saying that, especially when our country continues to not uphold that by voting in a guy that incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol. He said to fight like hell to take back the country from those that stole it from them, and then he pardoned those that police officers at the Capitol on January 6th.
Democrats dressing up like Trump supporters really makes them Trump supporters.
What? They weren't Democrats. What are you talking about? These people were convicted.
Okay.
Where'd you get that they were Democrats? Democrats
the people that rushed the Capitol.
Democrats were not the ones that rushed the Capitol on January 6th. That was Trump supporters.
Because they're dressed, they have a Trump hat on that makes them a Trump supporter.
That was MAGA. Well, no, they themselves said they were Trump supporters.
I believe that Democrats are snakes, and they have people dressed up as Trump supporters.
You can't take accountability for January 6th so bad. You just had to say it was Democrats dressed up as Republicans. Are you serious?
I'm not the only one.
What evidence do you have that they were Democrats?
I have no evidence, but we don't do that.
And you see this over and over again. I watched one today where a guy was wearing a T-shirt that said "Liberals suck," and the interviewer said, "Well, how do we bridge the divide in America?" And he went, "Huh?
Suck it.
Yeah,
suck
right.
it. Yeah."
If you probe just below the surface to find out what exactly these people believe and why they believe it so fanatically that they will wear a "Liberals suck" T-shirt in public. What you find is a stupid, crazy, bottomless pit of rage. And that's not an ethos. That's either a mental illness or a club or a cult.
Yeah.
It's not an ethos. It's not something that you're going to carry through the rest of your life. You're just mad.
There's not something that can hold itself upright on its own internal logic, because there is no internal logic. Yeah.
And as Driftglass has said many times on this podcast, we've already tried appeasement with these folks. It was called the Obama administration. And I know no fair remembering stuff, but if you go back 11 years, you'll find Bill Kristol on CNN's Crossfire comparing the Affordable Care Act to communism.
That's right, you will. And if you go back 11 years, you will find Bill O'Reilly on his top-rated Fox News white nationalist power hour calling Obamacare communism over and over and over again.
And you'll find Ohio Representative Mean Gene Schmidt, who's now a state senator, across the street from the Supreme Court, weeping with joy and dancing and cheering because she believed they had killed Obamacare.
Yeah, she was so happy.
Yep.
You will remember the beer party that Trump held in the now paved-over White House Rose Garden. Republicans thought they had finally killed the Affordable Care Act.
You will remember the hysterical town hall meetings full of proto-MAGA Tea Party fanatics screaming about Obamacare and communism and turning America into Russia.
Death panels, baby. Death panels.
Right.
Every step along the way, Obama and his people calmly explained that people's fears were baseless. And every step along the way, Obama offered Republicans the chance to amend the bill any way they chose. They got to amend it like 70 plus times, as long as the amendments met basic criteria, which were lower costs, expanding coverage, and improving outcomes. And every step along the way, the right doubled down their blind rage and racism. But what about now, Blue Gal? What about now?
Yeah, from MSNBC, a majority of Trump supporters back extending Obamacare subsidies, poll find. And this is when I want Obama to put on his tan suit.
Yeah.
And walk out on stage and say, get down on your knees and give me a goddamn apology.
And give every one of them a terrorist fist bump. I think that'd be great. Yeah. Yep.
This is MSNBC again. Without the tax cuts, people will lose coverage, putting their health and finances at risk, experts say. Around 4 million people are projected to go without coverage next year because they can no longer afford it, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Extending them would cost the federal government around $350 billion over the next decade. The new survey found 59% of Republicans, 59% of Republicans, and 57% of Make America Great Again supporters favor extending the enhanced subsidies. Overall, more than 3/4 of the public, 78%, say they want Congress to extend them. That includes 92% of Democrats and 82% of independents. Also from MSNBC, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia, has broken with her party in the ongoing standoff over the government shutdown. And in so doing, she is effectively arguing that the Democrats are right to demand that Republicans make concessions on healthcare policy, although she might not wish to describe it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Drift class. Like Liz Cheney before her, she's a mother and a patriot.
Welcome to the resistance, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is she our ally now?
Are
we supposed to like her now?
She cannot bring her Jewish space lasers with her.
No, got to leave them at the door. Yeah.
She's trying to rebrand herself, and leaning the right direction. But here's the deal. Mm-hmm. She shared a long post on X airing her grievances, including this. When the tax credits expire this year, my own adult children's insurance premiums for 2026 are going to double.
Uh-huh. Oh, me.
Oh, along with all the other wonderful families and hardworking people in my district.
All the little people.
My kids, my adult kids can't afford it.
All the little people that made me possible.
Yeah.
But my kids. You're going after my kids?
My adult kids will not be able to afford health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single Republican in leadership talked to us about this or has given us a plan to help America. A plan?
No, that's not fair. He has a concept of a plan, Blue Gal. A concept. Your boy that you voted for 3 times, this is his doing.
Yes.
Again.
It's all his doing.
You're the party that waved around mass deportation now signs on air at rallies.
TV, the third night of your
and
convention.
Then you're like, what? We didn't vote for this. The fuck you didn't.
Yeah.
We told you this was going to happen, and here it is. And it's the same way all the way down the line, from deficits to the power of the president. What they swear they believe on a Tuesday, they will turn around and swear they never did by Friday.
Yep.
And if what you believe changes every time conditions change, every time the wind shifts.
Every time it affects you.
Right. Every time it affects you, and every time something you swore, like, again, deficits, you swore that those were the red line for your party.
Yeah, right.
And you crucified Democratic presidents who didn't clear them up fast enough. Trump does it. It's no big thing.
Yep.
And
also, Elizabeth Warren noted that every American of every age group throughout the entire country could go to the doctor and pay a $35 copay for a visit to the doctor. And there would be money left over to treat sick people out of the tax cut that Trump gave Meta.
That's it. That
company.
That one chunk of bribe. That one bribe to Meta
would pay for every man, woman, and child in America to go to the doctor with a $35 copay with money left over to care for the sick.
We have no money.
One goddamn tax cut.
Yeah.
For one goddamn company. That doesn't count Amazon's tax cut. That doesn't count all the tax cuts for Trump's friends, personal tax cuts.
Elon Musk's tax cut? No, not at all. Not at all. And
not to mention, as we said last week, the money they gave Congress gave the Pentagon that the Pentagon didn't ask for.
Yeah, 50-something billion more than they asked.
$52 billion.
Mm-hmm. And here's
the thing. How are we
going
to pay for it? If an autistic child needs medicine, I'm sorry, I'm very upset about this. And he's okay. And he's okay. He has insurance through work, but my son was kicked off Medicaid last week.
Yeah, he was.
My autistic son was kicked off Medicaid last week. Now, he has coverage, but you do not understand the extent to which I cried all day.
I would wager that a number of people do understand, because I bet you a bunch of people who listen to this podcast are in similar situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are waiting to see whether we're going to have a Christmas this year.
Right. Absolutely.
Until November 1st, when you fill out the forms to find out whether you're getting a subsidy or not.
You know who knows the numbers? Marjorie Taylor Greene knows the numbers. Because she's seen them. That's why she flipped out. That's why she reacted the way she did.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. If what you believe, and you swear on the lives of your children that you believe this the way Southern men believed in slavery, right down to your bones, because God ordains it. If what you believe changes every time the wind shifts, that's not a fucking ethos.
Right.
And since they don't really believe in anything beyond their own grievances and a desire to punish somebody somewhere for
don't
their...
get me started about abortion.
No. Oh, no.
And then you've got a dead woman with the fetus inside of her.
Mm-hmm.
And they're keeping her alive artificially, and creating incredible pain for her family when she's dead.
Yep. Well,
I didn't vote for that.
Yeah, you did. Well,
yeah,
God.
you did. Yeah, you fucking did.
But in all those cases, it's your own sense of grievance is all you have.
Yeah.
And it's personal. It has nothing to do with a principle out there anywhere. It's I am upset that my life has gone to shit, and I want to punish someone for it. And since what they're mad about and who they blame changes from day to day based on whatever lies conservative media feeds them that day.
Waters is telling them. Yep.
Yeah. It becomes impossible to reason with them, much less negotiate with them in good faith. But, and this is where we take a little turn here, Blue Gal, but the people who lead them around by the nose, who want their votes, who want their money, and who get them by feeding them bullshit and scapegoats, those people very definitely have an agenda and an ethos.
Yeah, they have an ethos.
They sure do.
For example, Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has a whole intellectual framework behind what he's doing. And he's never been shy about what he wants. This is from State Affairs, November 15th, 2024. Quote, engaging President-elect Donald J. Trump's first round of cabinet nominations, it's important to understand the mindset of the man behind the curtain, in this case, shrewd political operative, Steve Bannon. I'm a Leninist, Bannon, who served briefly in the first Trump administration.
Yeah.
That is a novel in a phrase right there.
It sure is.
Reportedly told an academic in 2013, Lenin wanted to destroy the state, and that's my goal too. I want to bring everything crashing down and destroy all of today's establishment, unquote. Another example, we haven't talked enough about this, the 7 Mountain Mandate. I know people have written to me many times saying, why aren't you talking about this? I'm going to read, this is from a Wikipedia-like website called EBSCO Research. I'm not reading from 7 Mountain sources to you. The 7 Mountain Mandate was founded in 1975 by 2 religious leaders, Bill Bright and Lauren Cunningham. Cunningham founded the youth ministry group Youth with a Mission in 1960 after claiming to have received a vision from God. Bright was the founder of a similar group called Campus Crusade. The 2 men claim that they met for lunch in 1975. They both discovered God had given them the same message. They said God wanted them to evangelize and spread his word within each of the 7 spheres of society. According to the men, God inspired them to create a list of these pillars. Number 1, religion and the church. Number 2, family. Number 3, government. Number 4, education. Number 5, arts, entertainment, sports. Number 6, the media. And number 7, economics, which would include the sectors of business, science, and technology. Another man, Presbyterian pastor and author Francis Schaeffer, has also claimed to have received the purported message from God. Followers of the 7 Mountain Mandate philosophy, which, evangelical churches throughout the country believe that infusing white evangelical conservative Christian values into the 7 pillars will bring about the second coming of Christ.
That's right.
This movement has ties to Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA.
Yeah. And a ton of wealthy backers. Just crazy amounts of money.
Tithing churches.
Yeah. And this may seem like the unholiest of alliances when you think about it. But from one perspective, this alliance of tech bro, Randite, libertarian, but not really libertarian, more like crony capitalist billionaires, and white nationalist Christian conservatives makes a perfect kind of sense because both groups see democracy as an impediment to them achieving their ultimate goals.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, the enemies of American democracy have formed what you might call a confederacy to get rid of it. And afterwards, after we're all gone and we're dust and democracy is dead, then they can fight over who gets what.
Yep.
And that's the plan.
And it is fundamentally unconstitutional, everything they're doing.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they don't have freedom of speech within their church to do what they want to bring about the second coming of Jesus as they see fit.
You know what?
But inserting their religion into politics, into how this country is governed and how we treat minorities in particular, which the minorities change day to day.
Yep.
Sometimes it is black people. More often it is trans people and undocumented immigrants.
Yep.
But those are just the latest ones.
Don't forget women who want to have...
And women, and they, they are purging rights for people, not them, from our society.
Well, you know what we should do now?
Listen to a quote of the week from former dog killer Kristi Noem as part of our news roundup.
What an excellent idea, Blue Gal. Let's try that and see how that works.
Yeah, because this is really something.
They have been so bold in making sure we're bringing those individuals to justice. One of the individuals we arrested recently in Portland was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa, and that we are hoping that as we go after her, interview her, and prosecute her, we will get more and more information about the network and how we can root them out and eliminate them from the existence of American society.
So they finally caught up with and busted Eleanor Roosevelt, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of people on Blue Sky are posting photos of Antifa girlfriends, like Ilsa from, Casablanca, right?
Yeah.
Eleanor Roosevelt's another one. But you know what, Driftglass? I am a girlfriend of Antifa, too.
Apparently I am, too. And
You're a girlfriend of Antifa?
I am secure enough in my masculinity, in my belief in myself. Not my moral superiority, just who I am.
I think we're all Antifa's girlfriend at this point.
Antifa. I think I should have a T-shirt that says Antifa's girlfriend.
Wanting to eliminate people from our society.
You know when they talk about...
Fuck you.
You know when they talk about eliminationist rhetoric? That's what that sounds like.
This is what it sounds like.
Now, I'm going to move on to Ryan Crosswell, who you don't know yet, but this is a quote from him. Quote, as I told Aaron Burnett, I spent years prosecuting bribery cases at the DOJ. When a bag of cash changes hands, it's a solid case.
You're kidding.
I'm not a lawyer. We were both married to lawyers, and we know enough to know that's a pretty solid case.
Yep.
But under Trump's Department of Justice, friends like Tom Homan get protection and opponents get prosecution. It's why I resigned and why I'm running for Congress, unquote.
Good luck to you. And I bet I know which committee Hakeem Jeffries is going to put you on.
Agriculture.
Ryan Crosswell. It's not going to be the Farm Bill. No. And no Agriculture Committee for you.
No, sorry,
You'll be doing Department of Justice Oversight.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Good luck to you, Ryan Crosswell.
Yeah.
From Jonathan Cohn. Trump has been illegally bombing boats off the coast of Venezuela. Tim Kaine and Adam Schiff forced to vote on reasserting Congress's role over war powers. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah.
Our podcast is old enough to remember when this was an issue.
Uh-huh.
Our blogs are, I should say.
Yeah.
And ending this reckless warmongering. The vote failed in the Senate 48-51.
So close.
Lisa Murkowski and Rand Paul, Republicans, voted yes. John Fetterman voted no, unquote. Yeah. There's something wrong with that man's head.
There is.
He has been a disappointment.
Thoroughly. Now we turn to Forbes for more bribery and corruption in plain sight. Yay. Quote, shares of Trilogy Metals soared more than 250% as trading opened Tuesday after the Trump administration announced it would take a 10% stake in the Canadian mining firm as part of a new partnership, granting support for mining exploration in Alaska. Just money. President Donald Trump's order to grant permits for the Ambler Road reverses the Biden administration's rejection of the project last year. The Interior Department reported in April of 2024 that a proposed Ambler Road project would impact at-risk wildlife populations and critical food sources for Native American communities, arguing a decision to reject permits for the project would avoids significant irrevocable impacts to tribal subsistence uses and permafrost, which would make it unlikely the road could be reclaimed, unquote. But, on the other hand, Joe Biden was old, Blue Gal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
Donald Trump doesn't know anything about this road or what it does or what the good it's going to bring or the bad it's going to bring. He knows that it's going to give him some money. Money
for me. I like money. Money in my pocket. Money. Thank you. Yep, that's all he knows.
Doesn't matter jack shit. He gets a call from Don Jr. Says, gold.
Oh.
And he says, okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is aggregated from a number of sources and certainly was the highlight of my week.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Pam Bondi.
At Crooks and Liars, right?
At Crooks and Liars. I had to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Driftglass this morning that if I shrugged my shoulders every time Driftglass shrugs his shoulders, my back would hurt.
Yeah. I want to make clear, I'm not shrugging out of lack of concern.
No.
This is for you, Tom Nichols. I'm not normalizing anything. It's that, well, yeah, they're fascist. This is what fascists do.
Yes.
Yeah. Surprise.
What Driftglass is saying to me this morning was, you don't have to prove it to me that Pam Bondi is a fascist.
No. Oh my God.
And I said, I know that, but I can't. I have to work on this. I can't sit here and shrug my shoulders when I have to make sure there's a post about it at Crooks and Liars.
You have to vent and have a sympathetic ear.
And our articles have to vent. That is the point. That's the purpose of the blog. So
I'm happy to be a sympathetic ear. I'm just oh, good, fascists doing fascist stuff.
Yeah.
How surprising.
But the ethos, if you will, of Crooks and Liars is to punch fascists.
Absolutely. Well, I think we all share that. I think all of Antifa's sisters share that ethos.
Girlfriends.
Yeah. Girlfriends.
All the Antifa girlfriends have an ethos of punching fascists. All right. At a contentious, at least they didn't say controversial, Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on October 7th, Attorney General Pam Bondi was photographed with notes taped inside a folder. It was her burn book is what it was.
Yeah.
Containing bullet points for attacking Democratic senators. Photos of the folder taken by Reuters photographer Jonathan Ernst revealed her prepared lines of attack, which appeared to be based on Oppo research rather than policy or legal points. This is an oversight committee that is funding her department.
Yep.
Details from the notes included handwritten and typed notes for rebutting Senator Sheldon Whitehouse and other Democrats. I got to stop here and say, Sheldon Whitehouse really kept his cool and asked about whether or not Pam Bondi had seen a photograph of Trump.
Right.
In the Epstein files.
Yeah. In a compromising position.
And God damn it, she would not answer that question.
No.
And that answered the question.
Absolutely did. 100% did.
As I put on Blue Sky, she's seen the photos.
Yeah. This is, pardon me for saying, the bitch that didn't bark in the night.
The bitch that didn't bark in the night.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. She just couldn't, say, she couldn't answer the question. How hard it is? Have you seen the photos or not? She could have said, I can't recall.
Yeah. But, under oath and all.
Unable to recall a picture of the president of the United States with two 14-year-old topless girls giving a happy ending is kind of hard to not recall. Anyway, allegedly. Bullet points with personal attacks, including one note that read, "You are a total hypocrite." Instructions for shifting the subject away from the Epstein files.
Yeah.
It's not funny because, there are victims to these crimes. These are sex crimes against underage children.
Yeah.
So, and personnel firings that she'd done, if pressed by White House with a note suggesting she respond that the senator voted for a government shutdown. Pre-planned attacks for other senators, including calling Representative Adam Schiff a liar and a failed lawyer. The notes were part of a strategy that led to a combative and unprecedented oversight hearing in which Bondi repeatedly responded to senators' questions with personal attacks. While she did not end up using all of her planned insults, her confrontational style and refusal to directly answer many questions were widely criticized. One such exchange, Senator Mazie Hirono, did you approve shutting down the bribery investigation into Homan? Bondi, are you Antifa? No, I'm Antifa's girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I need to know if you approved it. Did you approve the shutting down of the bribery investigation into Homa? It has nothing to do with being Antifa's girlfriend.
No, I'm just an Antifa with benefits. You know, I'm just a side Antifa piece. You know, I'm just an Antifa cuck. I sit in the room and watch Antifa and his girlfriend.
Yeah. So you are the Antifa Corey Lewandowski, in other words.
I'm a Antifa procurer, if you will. That's a polite way of saying it. Antifa pimp. I have a special hat and everything.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. No, and this is all. You said, I think when we talked, that she's having a bad week. No, she's not. Donald Trump thought she was doing it. The only person she cares about is Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Not putting her in a concentration camp.
Exactly.
And he thought, oh yeah, you did all the good things because she's behaving like Donald Trump. He's surrounding himself with scum like himself, and they behave like he behaves.
Yep.
This is from Chicago, The Independent. This is from The Independent reporting in Chicago. Quote, a Presbyterian minister in Chicago is suing Donald Trump's administration after Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents were captured in a viral video firing pepper balls at his head during protests against the president's anti-immigration agenda. Yep, on purpose, and laughing about it. The Reverend David Black joined a lawsuit with Chicago reporters and protesters accusing the administration of unconstitutional threats to their First Amendment rights and religious freedoms, with a pattern of extreme brutality designed to silence the press and civilians, unquote.
From Salon, quote, following pressure from the Trump administration, Apple on Thursday removed several apps from the App Store that allow users to issue alerts and report sightings of immigration agents. The most prominent app, ICE Block, allows people to anonymously share and report the locations of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agents within a 5-mile radius. App creator Joshua Aaron received an email from Apple in which the company said the app was objectionable, unquote. If I may leave a comment here.
Of course.
There have been a number of criticisms this week about Amazon, and this applies to Apple, and this applies to Starbucks, and this applies to Target, and this applies to a whole bunch of other companies and places and people who have kowtowed to Trump on DEI or on paying him or whatever. And I just want to say that these companies, everything they're doing is they're machines, and their job is to improve and maintain shareholder value.
Right.
That's the only thing they do. And attaching, they're bad, they do this, they're bad. I understand that and boycotts can work. I haven't been to Target, since they caved on DEI. I'm not going to go to Target.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying don't boycott, but I'm saying if you boycott and think you've done enough to make us take a stand against what these companies are doing, you haven't even scratched the surface. What needs to happen is we need to elect democratic socialists
yep.
who will break up these companies.
Yeah.
The reason it is such a big deal that Apple took this app off of their app store is they're a monopoly.
Yep.
And you're the only person in our family who doesn't have an iPhone, Driftglass.
Yeah.
You're the rebel. And I can't text you from my Mac. I can't text. I have to go to my phone and text you.
To all of my Apple fans from the days when I worked at Columbia College, who would have ever believed that being a Windows user would be the rebel position?
Yeah.
Anyway.
The one who would be cool now.
Yeah.
Right. But this is what I mean. Amazon is a monopoly.
Yeah. Yes,
and it's not I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate people as consumers taking stands that they want to take to vote with their dollars and so forth. Mm-hmm. But we need to elect people who are going to bust up these companies. It's time. And get the money out of politics. And limit speech, as money is speech. It's become the only speech. It's no longer what I've said all along, when money becomes speech. Money has become speech.
Right.
And we know that because that's all Trump listens to all day long.
I will say this.
Yeah.
You will never get money out of politics, ever. It will never happen.
But you can trace it, and you can limit it, and you can scale it.
Sure.
To where it's not Elon Musk dropping $124 million into one campaign.
I believe that is possible. Yeah. I'm just saying, it always finds a way. Money always finds a way. And when money is concentrated in a few hands that have a very, very bad agenda.
Right. That's it. We have to redistribute wealth.
Yes.
We have lived through this before, folks.
Yes,
this is the Gilded Age.
Well,
it's age. It's the Gilded Age plus the Nazi age, all rolled into one.
Yeah, you and I haven't lived through it before, but we as a
nation have lived through these eras.
Well,
where concentrated wealth and monopolies and bad business practices happen.
I agree, and I can't do anything about that, but I can say that there's ordinary people doing cool things in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Since Tim Cook completely wimped out and deleted the ice tracking apps from the Apple Store, in Chicago, they're trying new tactics. There's all kinds of new tactics. There's new things you can do. I mean, police scanners are still out there, Blue Gal. You can still listen on the radio. Ordinary citizens are now following ICE vehicles around, as someone said on Blue Sky, like it's a heist movie. Honking horns and waving and warning people, they're coming. Restaurants in Chicago are denying them food, which is tragic because if you live in Chicago, you go there and they won't feed you. You know, here's some Malort and some dog food. Fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Public buildings are denying them access to potties. We're working with our friends at Hello Fascist, our fake advertising company, on someone suggested they should go into the porta potty business, and we're thinking a lot about that. Use a jar, asshole. Tow trucks are following them around and towing their cars. And I never thought I would miss the Lincoln Park Pirates, who were shut down in 2018 for, let's say, unethical practices. But Chicago could sure use them now. And what? You've never heard of the Lincoln Park Pirates? Well, take it away, Steve Goodman.
Way, hey, tow away. The Lincoln Park Pirates are we. From Wilmette to Gary, there's none that's so hairy, and we always collect our fee. To me, way, hey, tow away. We plunder the streets of your town. Be it Edsel or Chevy, there's no car too heavy, and no one can make us shut down. We break into cars when we gotta, with pickaxe and hammer and saw. And they said this garage had no license, but little care I for the law. All my drivers are friendly and courteous. They're good manners you always will get, 'cause they all are recent graduates of the charm school in Joliet.
So what were the pirates? What were they?
They were the Lincoln Park towing people.
Oh.
If you're, I had my car towed by them at least once. My friend John, I loaned him my car. He thought, I can park it here for half an hour. Nothing's going to happen. And boom, it was gone like within 5 minutes.
They would break into your car to tow it.
Oh yeah. If they couldn't get it any other way, they'd break in. And they'd haul it away to their fortress behind, mighty brick walls and grates and steel. And you'd pay whatever they ask you to pay to get your car back. And they were notorious for this shit. There are also thousands of Chicagoans marching in the streets. Now, this is an audio of Jacob Soboroff. I think he's reporting for MSNBC, reporting last night from Michigan Avenue.
This is almost exactly 4 months to the day that you and I talked on the streets of L.A. after that first raid in downtown Los Angeles brought hundreds, if not thousands, of people to the streets. It feels like deja vu. And I say that because this is a jubilant atmosphere. These are people who do not and will not tolerate federal troops, whether they are highly kitted up Border Patrol agents or members of the National Guard on the streets of Chicago. You know this better than anybody. Tonight is a critical playoff game for the Chicago Cubs. A lot of these people could be doing something else, sitting in a bar, watching television. They're out here because most of them say they're here to protect democracy. I've not seen anything like this in Chicago. I spent a lot of time here. My wife's from here. Look at this. This is Michigan Avenue in the middle of downtown Chicago. Here, too, hundreds, if not thousands of people. And it's not a feeling of anger. It is not a feeling of terror, which is being felt in much of the other parts of this city and of the Chicagoland area, where they're indiscriminately going around picking up people, not who are violent criminals or the worst of the worst, but I'll give you two examples that I saw myself. A 53-year-old mother going to pick up meat to make a stew from Mexico who has been here for 30 years.
Wow.
And is now in the Broadview ICE detention center. Another one is two gentlemen who are on their way to work as mechanics, literally going to pick up a cup of coffee in Cicero, 90% Hispanic, 90,000 people there, the most Hispanic neighborhood in all of Illinois. And Border Patrol rolled up on them. Literally, the guys left their coffee cups there. They detained both of those guys. One of them's already in Georgia on his way to being deported. There, they're angry. There, they're terrified. Here, the energy is it's electric.
Excuse me. To wrap up, just for fun, let's play a little game of pundit versus pundit. It's one of my favorite games. It's the compare and contrast game that all the kids are crazy about. And ordering on Amazon, the home version. Don't do it, kids. Go buy it at the store. We're going to read two quotes from two nationally famous pundits. And you have to guess who said what. Okay, are you ready? Everybody ready?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready. We didn't go over this before you read them to me initially, so I'll just have you read them again. And
okay, put on your thinking caps, kids, because it's a tricky one. This is a tricky one. I'm a tricky guy. As you know, I'm Antifa's girlfriend. Pundit number one. This is pundit number one says, quote, "What's happening is not normal. America needs an uprising that's not normal. So far, we've treated the various assaults by President Trump and the acolytes in his administration as a series of different attacks. In one lane, they're going after law firms. In another, they savage USAID. In another, they're attacking universities. On yet another front, they're undermining NATO. And on another, they're trying to upend global trade. But that's the wrong way to think about it. These are not separate battles. This is a single effort to undo the parts of civilizational order that might restrain Trump's acquisition of power. And it will take a concerted response to beat it back. It's time for a comprehensive national civic uprising. It's time for Americans in universities, law, business, nonprofits, the scientific community, and civil servants, and beyond, to form one coordinated mass movement. Trump is about power. The only way he's going to be stopped is if he's confronted by some movement that possesses rival power. I'm not really a movement guy. I don't naturally march in demonstrations or attend rallies, but this is what America needs right now, unquote."
Okay.
And pundit number one sounds just a little bit like Mario Savio's Sproul Hall sit-in speech from December 2nd, 1964.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart, that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
That is a great speech. It is famous, incredibly famous speech. Many of you are probably familiar with it. Some of you might have been around for it. Some of you might have seen it in person. If not, you may be familiar with an episode of Battlestar Galactica. See, a little science fiction university getting snuck in there, where Ronald Moore had Chief Tyrrell giving exactly the same speech, almost word for word. The showrunners went so far as to get the permission from Savio's widow, who they credited at the end of the episode. There's no audio or video clips of that scene available for free, but you get the idea. Okay, got it? That's the first pundit. This is the second pundit, and this pundit is on a panel. The host of the panel asks, and one of the reasons Democrats are standing their ground on the shutdown is the issue of extending Obamacare subsidies, with premiums set to skyrocket. Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia shared this example on social media. A Georgian earning $65,000 a year would see premiums jump from about $300 a month to over $950 a month. Shouldn't the party that controls the House, the Senate, and the White House do more to end a shutdown than just dig in? Got it? The answer from pundit number two is no. In 2020, the quote goes on, the Democrats win an election and they have power. And so in 2021, they pass a bill which further increased the health insurance subsidies as part of Obamacare. And when they did it, they passed it to sunset in 2025. In 2024, the Republicans win an election. And guess what? They pass legislation that go with their policy priorities and they let the subsidies sunset. And so what do you do if you're in a democracy, right? You go to the voters, if you're a Democrat, and you say, their policy is terrible. Next time, why don't you vote for us? That's how a democracy functions. But apparently we don't live in a functional democracy anymore. Wah, wah, wah. Now, if we don't like the policy the majority party passes, we shut down the government. And I'm not blaming Democrats solely. Oh, that's mighty wide of you. But I just think the pattern is so terrible for our democracy. And that's what our politics are descending into. And it's very bad for democracy, unquote. So, to summarize, while this is bad for democracy, and both sides are to blame, but Democrats are mostly to blame, this is what happens in a democracy. This is just what happens. Majority gets to do what it likes, and it's just tough luck for the minority. Cast your votes.
And if the people that voted for Trump are going to lose their health insurance, and that's a crisis, millions are going to lose their health insurance.
Tough luck. That's democracy, kids.
The democracy, Republicans get to do whatever they want.
Remember, pundit number 2 is arguing that, well, it's kind of an imperfect and broken democracy, but that's how democracy works, and we have to follow the rules, right? And Trump won, so Trump gets to do whatever Trump wants because those are the rules. Pundit number 1 says, we need a national uprising. Every tool at hand must be used to stop this fascist scumbag. My God, why aren't you people waking up to the danger you're in? Right?
I want to know what prompted pundit number 1 to say that. Was it just Doge?
Oh, it was Doge, and it was the barrage of shit coming off this. And I will now give it away. Cast your votes.
Well, I'm going to tell everyone. Many of you who follow Driftglass carefully will already know that both of these pundits are David Brooks.
Yes, just months apart.
Driftglass has broken the ironclad rule of David Brooks and quoted David Brooks from last week or last month or 4 months ago.
Yep.
Which you're not allowed to do.
You are forbidden to do that.
Only supposed to quote David Brooks from the last time he was on the NewsHour. And that's it.
Yeah. No, in April of this year, it was this barrage of stuff that Trump was doing, the doging of everything.
Yeah.
And it was, holy crap, people, stand up, rise up.
Take to the streets.
And Brooks was all over like this. The second one was at the NewsHour last week. But the NewsHour in April was, people aren't marching enough. More people need to get out in the street. There needs to be more uprising, more outrage, more attack. Grab whatever tools you can. Stop this son of a bitch. He's doing terrible things to our country. And by October, well, this is just how Congress works. This is how the system works.
You're just going to have to do without health insurance next year. Sorry.
This is how democracy works. If you don't like it, go vote it out. But the whole shutting the government down is just terrible. And mostly it's the Democrats' fault. And you can just see either somebody got a hold of his leash and yanked it really hard. And so remember your job, David. Remember your job. Or
I just think he doesn't have any adult children who are going to lose their health insurance. That's the deal.
I don't think he believes in anything. I think once the issue became about Congress and what's going on in Congress, he suddenly became an institutionalist, a conservative institutionalist who remembers, this is not the way it should be. People should.
And he needs to get quotes from Mike Johnson for his column, so he's not going to do anything to make Mike Johnson look bad. Yeah.
And this kind of goes hand in glove with Tom Nichols' Atlantic article, decrying the swearing in public now.
Oh yeah,
it's just that I'm paid to get mad at Democrats every now and then. I need to find something to get mad at them about. Oh, shut down. Yeah.
But the Chuck Schumer did a very good video about explaining what the stakes were in the shutdown about healthcare. It's about healthcare. It's about healthcare.
Yep.
And he put in no fucking way and bleeped himself in the video,
and
to
Tom Nichols,
show emotion.
And Tom Nichols shit himself and said, "Oh my God!" But the first person he attacked for using a naughty bad word was Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah,
because black
she
lady
said the mofo word.
She did, and
in a private meeting with African Americans, I think
This is just oh my God, but. Again, he just needs to find a reason to get mad at liberals. Yeah. And then occasionally, of course, frequently they swaddle this in a both sides do it diaper. But really, these conservatives never gave up hating the left. And they just can't get over it. So they find reasons to get angry at Democrats for doing exactly what David Brooks in April of 2025 told them they should do.
To take to the streets. Right. Yes. Each week we post to our Patreon page and website at Internet Kitty, sent in by you, the listeners. This week's Internet Kitty is Millie. Millie is a lovely tabby cat who loves her cat tower tunnel.
Oh.
And of course, Millie eats freshly poured cat food, our fake sponsor. Whether you serve pet store perfection or dollar store dreck, your internet kitty will sit on the kitchen floor or maybe in her cat tower and demand that the food they eat is only freshly poured. Freshly poured, freshly poured. Oh, my Lord, it's freshly poured. And you can visit Millie at our Patreon page, patreon.com/proleftpod, or our website, proleftpod.com. Now, we have gotten an email, and we're not sure how to deal with it yet, but we understand that at some point, Venmo is going to be able to pay to Patreon, to PayPal.
PayPal, right.
If that's something that interests you and you'd like us to pursue it, that you could donate to us from Venmo, email us at proleftpodcast@gmail.com. I don't want to pursue it if nobody's interested in it, but if people would like to donate to us via Venmo, I will look into it.
Well, I understand Trilogy Metals has just come into a lot of money, and they might want to Venmo us a couple of million. Just
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you can send your internet kitty, dog, or other pet to us at our email address, proleftpodcast@gmail.com, where you can also write to both of us. Feel free to write to us. We love hearing from you. Be aware that if you write to us at any of our addresses, we reserve the right to read your email or U.S. Postal Service, Go Postal Unions, letter on the air unless you say otherwise.
Just as we did with Mary this week. That was a quick turnaround. We did our podcast on Tuesday. She wrote us on Wednesday. Thursday, there she is, live on the air. Mm-hmm. This is a friendly reminder about our gourmet coffee guidelines. If you're able to treat yourself to an espresso-based beverage, we ask that you consider treating us to one as well. It isn't charity. This is how we support the work we do. If you can spare $5 a month or more, we'd be very grateful for your support at patreon.com/proleftpod. Also, please help us continue to grow in our mission by sharing the show on social media. If you love this podcast, introduce it to a friend. We think they get along just great. And thank you so much for helping us do that.
And we didn't read the email from the guy who said, thanks for the spoilers. I haven't read Huckleberry Finn yet.
Yeah. You bastards. You sons of bitches. Well, we didn't spoil it. We didn't go all the way to the end. And that's because you shouldn't, because the last chapter is bad. It's silly. It should have ended with Return Up the River. It's just the bad. Just ignore the last chapter. Just chop it off.
Hey, Driftglass, how are the Internet Kitties doing this week?
Well, the Internet Kitties are sure that if you could just get Iced Head down to lower Wacker Drive, you would never see them again.
It's the Bermuda Triangle of Chicago.
It sure is, Blue Gal. It sure is.
Let's think about living. Think about living. Let's think about loving. Think about loving. Let's think about the hooping and the hopping and the popping and the lovey-dovey. Let's forget about the wine and the crying, the shooting and the dying, and the fellow with a switchblade knife. Let's think about living. Let's think about life.
The Professional Left podcast is recorded under a Creative Commons license. Copyright 2024-25, GGBG Productions.